Hello, class. In Chapter 1, we're going to highlight only a few sections: scientific notation, unit system, and unit conversion. Most of you probably are already familiar with scientific notation, or also referred to as the power of 10. For example, instead of writing 36,900, you can write it in scientific notation as 3.69 times 10 to the fourth. Or instead of writing 0.0021, in scientific notation it would be 2.1 times 10 to the negative 3. For units in physics, we'll mainly use the International System, or commonly referred to as the SI system. Common SI units we'll use are meters, which represents length, seconds, which represents time, and a unit you may not have commonly used yet is kilograms, which represents mass. Please note that it's kilograms and not grams for representing the mass in SI units. For really large or small numbers, it would be easier to add prefixes, like K for kilo. For example, it's easier to say 5 kilometers than 5,000 meters, or 2 millimeters instead of 0.002 meters. Common prefixes we'll use in this course is kilo, centi, and milli. Occasionally we'll also use some of these prefixes, or these are common prefixes you may come across at some point in your life: micro, nano, pinko, femto, mega, giga, and tera. Please write these down for future references. Now, the main part of this chapter I would like to emphasize is converting units. You'll have to convert units frequently throughout this course. Most unit conversions involve power of 10, like converting from grams to kilograms. However, converting units to or from British units takes a little bit more work. For example, converting 8,611 meters to feet, you need to use a conversion factor for every 1 meter equals 3.28 feet. Thus, 8,611 meters equals 28,251 feet. We're going to do a few practice problems. The first one is converting 21.5 inches to centimeters with a conversion factor given as 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. The first step is to write down the number and unit you're trying to convert. Then, in parentheses, you want to multiply by the conversion factor. Notice how centimeters is on top and inches is on the bottom. This is an important order because look at what will cancel out. Inches. So now you're left with centimeters on top, which is the unit we're trying to convert to. All that's left is multiplying this equation to get 52.68 centimeters. So 21.5 inches equals 52.68 centimeters. Here's another example. There are only 14 peaks whose summits are over 8,000 meters above sea level. They are the tallest peaks in the world and are referred to as the 8,000ers. What is the elevation in feet of an elevation of 8,000 meters? The conversion factor given is 1 foot equals 12 inches and 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. The first step is to write down the number you're trying to convert. Now we have a puzzle of figuring out how to convert meters into feet with the given conversion factors. We know that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. Once we have centimeters, we know from our conversion factor that 2.54 centimeter equals 1 inch and that 12 inches equals 1 foot. So first, we write down the conversion factor of 100 centimeters over 1 meters. Centimeters should be on top so that the meters will cancel out. Now we write our next conversion factor, centimeters to inches. Inches are on top so that centimeters will cancel out. Then our last conversion factor is inches to feet, with feet on top so that inches will cancel out. And now we're left with feet, which is our end goal, converting meters to feet. The last step is multiplying and dividing out this equation to get 26,247 feet. Now let's do something a little bit harder, converting 55 miles per hour to meters per second. In the blue table are conversion factors given. First step, write down the number you're trying to convert. Since there are 2 units this time, we need to focus on 1 unit at a time. Let's start with the top unit of converting miles to meters. According to the conversion chart, we can first convert miles to feet. With feet on top, then mile units will cancel out. Then we can convert feet to inches. With inches on top, feet will cancel out. Now we can convert inches to centimeters. With centimeters on top, inches cancels out. And lastly, centimeters to meters. With meters on top, the centimeters will cancel out. And now we're only left with the meter as a unit on top. Now we need to convert the bottom unit from hours to second by first converting hours to minutes. With minutes on the bottom, hour cancels out. Now minutes to seconds. With seconds on the bottom, minute will cancel out. And now we're left with only seconds on the bottom. The last step is multiplying and dividing through this equation to get 24.6 meters per second. So 55 miles per hour equals 24.6 meters per second. In our last example, you have seen a nice apartment whose floor area is 880 square feet. What is the area in square meters? The conversion factor given is 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. The first step is to write down the number you're trying to convert. Then we need to convert feet squared to inches squared. Notice that the square on the outside of the conversion factor. Let's factor in that square so that we have 144 inches squared over 1 foot squared. With inches squared on top, feet squared cancel out. Then we can convert inches squared to centimeters squared. Let's factor in that square to have 6.45 centimeters squared over 1 inch squared. With centimeters squared on top, the inches squared will cancel out. Lastly, we can convert centimeters squared to meters squared. Again, let's factor in that squared. Right, centimeters squared will cancel out, and we're left with meters squared on top. Multiplying and dividing through this equation to get around 82 meters squared. So 880 square feet equals about 82 meters squared. This concludes Chapter 1.